Today on the High Republic Show, we're going behind the scenes of the new High Republic themed tale in ILMxLAB's Tales from the Galaxy's Edge Last Call. Meet the brand new characters from Marvel's latest High Republic miniseries, Trail of Shadows, exclusive reveals, and much, much more! So get ready to stare at the screen in stunned silence like a calcified loading greatstorm. Because the High Republic Show starts right now.
Over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice.
Hello, my lovely internet pals. It's me, Krystina Ariel, back at it again to deliver your bi-monthly dose of High Republic goodness. And boy, has a lot transpired since the last time we talked. Like, can we discuss for a minute how the Phil Noto designed a teaser poster for the end of Phase 1? Who will survive? Really? Y'all are really just gonna break my heart like that right after I just fell in love with these characters? And how dare you, Lucasfilm Publishing, showing off the destruction of the Starlight Beacon? We just built the model, and now you're setting it on fire. The next phase is going to be heartbreaking. But before we can talk about the future, let's talk about the past. As in, what comics were released since the last time we talked. It's time for the timeline. Following the disastrous events of the Republic Fair, Stellan Gios has initiated an investigation into the death of Loden Greatstorm. He tasked Jedi investigator Emmerich Caphtor to get to the bottom of the mystery. Simultaneously, Chancellor Lena So has also hired an investigator to crack the case, Cian Holt, a high-end private eye who plays by her own rules deep in the shadows. Meanwhile, Avar Kriss is going against the will of the Jedi Council, launching a mission to discover who has replaced Lorna Dee as the Eye of the Nile. After infiltrating the Nile Foundry on Zeiss, Keeve and Tarek are forced to do the unthinkable. Kill their ally Moraga the Hutt to prove to Tempest Runner Zetar and the rest of the Nile that they are, in fact, who they say they are, and not just Jedi in disguise. But thanks to a clumsy Leppy, an explosive diversion is triggered, allowing Keeve to buy some time. Meanwhile, in space, Avar and Skier are asking Sarah what they're sensing with their connection to their bond twin Tarek on Zeiss, while Skier learns he's losing his connection to the Force. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, on Takodana, the Padawans from the Starhopper are on another adventure, defending the local Jedi temple against the Nile. But it wouldn't be a trip to Takodana without a cameo from Maz Kanata. Here, the Jedi learn that Court has known Maz for a long, long time. Since he was a baby. Aww. We also learn the skull he wears on his head is actually from a Vondan crab that baby Court found inside Maz's castle. The reunion, while cute, isn't what it's cracked up to be. In fact, it turns out that once the Nile attacked the Jedi Temple, one of the Nile defectors the Jedi met earlier wasn't really a defector at all. Nope, she was just waiting for the perfect moment to blow up the temple. Back on Zeiss, Moraga the Hutt is recuperating following the explosion. But Zetar is determined to have the undercover Jedi kill their ally. Frustrated, Zeke does it himself, electrocuting the Hutt, forcing her to reveal that Keeve and Tarek are not Nile, but Jedi that have infiltrated their ranks. Then, because it's Star Wars, a good old lightsaber battle ensues. Nile limbs getting chopped off, Jedi getting sucker punched, Hutt's getting electrocuted, but uh-oh, the dead speak. Lorna Dee is back, baby! And she brought a mysterious weapon in a box with her. A weapon so terrifying that Jedi have been forever altered by its very presence. That weapon? The Leveler! Unleashed, the Leveler paralyzes the Jedi and breaks Saret's connection with Tarek, calcifying their body! Dun dun dun! But it's even worse for Saret's bond twin Tarek. Keeve struggles with paralyzing fear of this weapon as she's hallucinating Tarek getting torn inside out. Sensing an opening, Zetar attempts to strike down Keeve, but is stopped by Lorna Dee using the Jedi's fallen saber against him. Meanwhile, on Takodana, the Jedi are reeling after the explosion, Court especially. Picking up the broken skull mask he's worn all his life. Ready to show what he's made of, Court takes off after the Nile and their ships. The Jedi are victorious thanks to an unmasked Court and Maz's old Jedi friend, Zav Malagan. But elsewhere, Crix hints that they have something very special planned for the Jedi. Back on the Jedi ship Ataraxia, Avar and the Jedi are in a panic as Sarek continues to feel the effects of what their bond twin is experiencing. They set a course for Zeiss, but not before Sarek falls into the same void of nothingness their twin is experiencing. Suddenly, the Nile attack the ship as Skier and Avar pilot vectors to the foundry below. Skier jumps from the ship and takes the Nile head-on, slicing Zetar's mech suit in half, incapacitating him inside the suit. The Jedi rush to Tarek's side just in time to watch Lorna Dee attempt to escape again. But Avar Kriss has other plans. Will she be able to stop Lorna Dee? What will become of the twins? And why is Maz always around when giant structures are getting destroyed on Takodana? With every answer, we just end up with more questions. Thanks, Star Wars.
You remember Addie? Yeah, she went on to become a Jedi Knight. And she knew that meant eventually taking a Padawan, but what she didn't know is that in order to teach, you gotta be willing to learn.
My name is Jose Perez III, and I'm the director of Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge Last Call. What's really exciting is to continue our exploration of the High Republic. We were so excited to be one of the first groups to really take that into an interactive medium with Addie Sunzi and Temple of Darkness, and we're super stoked to see Addie's transition to a Jedi Knight with her own Padawan in the High Republic many years later.
Not all challenges are opponents, Padawan. You'll see.
For the Sacred Garden, what we wanted to do is really explore a different side of the Jedi. And what's so cool about this specific tale is that instead of diving deep into just all the combat and stuff, we really wanted to take a look at what it means to have a master and a Padawan relationship and to teach kind of more of the spiritual side of the Force.
This is where you'll take some of your first steps of really listening to the Force.
Hi, my name is Raymond Chow, and I am an experienced designer at ILMxLAB. Trying to nail the feeling of the Force is definitely a hard task to do. Fortunately, we already had a lot to leverage from Vader Immortal and the first tale of Addie, so we were already off to a great start. But the challenge here was to tune the Force just enough so that it would feel good for those gameplay mechanics in the pavilion, while also feeling similar to what players are used to from before.
An obstacle also presents us with a challenge. And challenges push us.
In trying to design the spiritual side of the Force, we really had a couple mechanics that we had in mind. We had 3 different training pavilions in the Sacred Garden. So the first one was patience, and in there you are slicing remotes in certain patterns, also while trying to avoid the bomb remotes. In balance, you are using the Force to guide these rocks and stack them in certain patterns, making sure they don't fall before your Force stamina depletes. And in the Growth Pavilion, you are presented with these kind of menacing, hungry-looking plants, and you're guiding these seeds that kind of spin and fall from the ceiling into the mouth and feed them until they bloom into this beautiful flower. I hope the player learns something from each pavilion and also the finale of the Sacred Garden.
Thank you for reminding me that the flow of knowledge goes both ways.
When you really think about what it means to be this guardian of peace, when you're younger, you think the best way to solve problems is to jump in head first and just chop it down. When really patience, balance, growth, these are all lessons that we've wrapped up in this. And then there's kind of a final lesson that Addie has in the whole thing, because I think the main through line that we really were running with this is that even the master can learn from the apprentice. And that's something that we really wanted to drive home in this tale.
Without my next guest, virtually none of the stories you've read from the High Republic would make it into your home. Takes a village to make a book, y'all. And it takes some really good editors to help make the stories you love pop. Please welcome senior editor from Marvel, Mark Paniccia, from Viz, executive editor Fawn Lau, and from Penguin Random House, creative director Elizabeth Schaefer. Welcome, y'all. Engaging in a project like the High Republic, it's a pretty large undertaking, let alone to do it across 3 different publishers. What's the communication been like on an endeavor like this?
The answer is that it's really easy when you have a great team and that level of communication, right? So we have the amazing team at Lucasfilm, we have the story group, and we have the Luminous authors themselves who just live and breathe this stuff. So you always feel safe that there's going to be a team behind you.
It's been a great experience because everyone is so invested in this project. All the writers, they're in constant communication with each other. They're always there for us when we need them.
Fawn, what's it been like for you trying to maintain that continuity?
Well, Viz actually is a new partner with Lucasfilm, so that was also exciting to become part of the world that Penguin and Marvel is so used to. So starting that relationship was one of the first things that we had to do, and understanding kind of the process between storytelling approvals and who the creatives are involved. On top of that, working with Japanese artists and kind of getting them knowing feelings that the Japanese creators had on Star Wars as a whole.
It's great that you acknowledge it because so much of Star Wars is inspired by Japanese culture. So it is great to see books like the manga, to see series like Visions, and actually have people of the culture a part of the concept that they've inspired. It seems that things have been pretty cohesive for you, so I'd have to ask, what's been the biggest challenge that you've faced on the High Republic?
I would say the scheduling. Scheduling's a big factor in it, because we have to make sure that we're not revealing something that's in one of the other books. We want to make sure that we're not contradicting anything that's happening, that everything syncs up, and that's a huge undertaking. And again, if it wasn't for a story group, there would probably be a lot of misses along the way. That's kind of the easy part for us. It's just with the scheduling, as with anything in publishing, is it can be challenging.
That's totally true. That's the double-edged sword of that level of collaboration and communication, is that sometimes the team is working on a comic that Kevin is still working on getting something done, and until that gets figured out, this thing can't be finalized in the novel. And so that's kind of the beauty and the challenge of the High Republic, making sure everything blends together.
I think that we have an extra layer of communication with Japan. We worked with Krystina for Volume 1 and we're working with Daniel Volume 2 to help us get the High Republic storytelling in line, and then trying to get Japanese creators that information as soon as possible is that challenge as well with the scheduling, because manga happens also at a different pace. So we don't have the single issues every month. So making sure that we can have the story fit in was also pretty hard to navigate, I think. It is complicated, but I think that's the part that's fun. Like, a lot of things we have a routine for, but this one I think is the most new and interesting in publishing. I think knowing that there are things coming through, but not knowing exactly what's going to happen, because we're all in the middle of our manuscripts. So it's been helpful to have Daniel share some of his work, and obviously everyone at Lucasfilm sharing resources has been really helpful, and it's just been crazy.
What I want preserved for posterity is like the secret writer Slack of them like talking to each other and developing all this stuff. Like, that needs to be archived for the future.
Is there a documentary on this in the future? Someone can publish the behind the scenes book.
Between the three of you, you've worked on so many projects, written on so many projects. Elizabeth, what project that you've worked on holds a special place in your heart?
For the High Republic itself, I mean, just the first Light of the Jedi. Charles had this monumental task to introduce you to this entire world, and he absolutely pulled it off. So just getting to see that grow under him. And then the Fallen Star, working with Claudia on this has been amazing. It was one of those rare projects where it comes in and you really have to separate out, I'm reading this as a Star Wars fan who cares about these characters, and I'm reading this as an editor who needs to help make this a great book. So it's not a spoiler to say there are casualties in this wave of storytelling that were just rough to go through, but that emotional impact is what it makes this series so special. And that was just a gift to work on.
It made me very emotional thinking about grieving anyone at this point, because we're all so emotionally attached.
You just fall in love with these characters immediately. They all represent all kinds of emotions. And with Kiev, what I love about that character is the fact that she is truly gifted, and she's always a little bit doubtful, but because she's so gifted and so skilled, she thinks she screwed up. And they're like, no, you passed the test. We all know or fantasize about having a moment like that or whatever. And then with Skier, and that, struggling with that internal challenge was really super compelling. Just this project alone has been an amazing experience.
What's it like to be able to be a part of shaping a new portion of the Star Wars universe?
Oh, it's terrifying and it's so special, right? I think a lot of the projects that all of us do are often tied very specifically to the newest film or the newest TV show. And because of that, there are a lot of lines that you need to color in. And with the High Republic there are no lines, and that is thrilling, and anything can happen. And because anything can happen, again, just a little bit terrifying, but in a good way.
I think that it's been really fun, I think, for at least for Japan to be involved in that sense. A lot of publishing before has originated here, so I think the writer that we have, Shima, was really happy. I hope I could speak for her to be able to get to create something from her own imagination that would be part of Star Wars canon.
Yes, and that also is creating a character that so many will see themselves in, with strength and courage and the light of the Jedi, if you will. I want to move to you, Mark, and ask you, say someone's apprehensive about getting started with the High Republic. What would be the thing that you said to get them invested and tell them why they should care about these stories?
Because it's so good. I don't know. I would be like, new villains, new challenges, new designs. It's the golden age of the Jedi. But, even in golden times, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. I think you just got to give it a chance. I would ask somebody to give it a chance and say, I dare you not to like it. I dare you not to love it.
What's so brilliant about this series and how it's been constructed is that you can read as much or as little as you want. So you want to read comics? Awesome. There are comics for you to read. Don't worry about the novels. It's okay. You won't feel like you're missing out. And the reverse is true. If you just want to read a novel, that's okay too. Like, you don't need to feel like this is all or nothing. And if I don't consume every piece of the High Republic, I'll be so lost and not understand what's going on. No, that's just not the case at all.
Fantastic. Fawn, what's the thing about working on Edge of Balance that made you invest in Star Wars: The High Republic?
I think the format, being able to be part of this multi-publisher program and put manga in front of people who have been familiar with Star Wars and giving them a look into what manga is. So selfishly introducing, I guess, the format of manga. But, like you said, there's a lot of Star Wars that is inspired by Japanese culture. So being able to officially kind of be a part of that and be able to incorporate that into High Republic was really fun.
And now's the part where I attempt to get spoilers that you will not give me, but I'm going to try anyway. Elizabeth, what are you most looking forward to in the coming phases of the High Republic?
I'm really excited for people to see Martian Ro's journey. I think, story's only as good as its villain, and Martian is a great villain. To see him evolve from this confident, competent place, but there's unrest among the Tempest, that he knows he's riding this tiger, and at any moment, he might lose control, I think is that sliver of doubt within him makes him so interesting. So I'm excited for people to see his journey. He's a total smoke show, and we all know it.
Yes, he is. I'm sorry. I was not going to say it, but it's true, and we all know it.
I'm totally there with you, Krystina. Yeah, absolutely.
Fawn, what are you looking forward to in the coming phases?
For our next volume, I hope people look forward to maybe seeing some familiar faces. Lily has been on Banshee, kind of isolated, but in Volume 2, hopefully that'll change. That's the little teaser, I guess, for our upcoming volume.
Every little bit helps. So, Mark, what are you looking forward to in this next phase?
I'm looking forward to people's reactions. Trail of Shadows, I think what's really cool about that is just the vibe. It's so noir, and it's different than what you would expect. Without spoiling anything, I just check it out and you'll see exactly what I mean. And then with Eye of the Storm, like Elizabeth was saying, the villains make the story. And this is the story about a pretty unique villain that I think ranks up there with some of the great Star Wars villains, because it's not going the way that they think it is.
That's so true. I think the best part is getting to see people's reactions online when you've been working in this vacuum for months and months and months, and then you finally get to see the joy, the pain, the sorrow, and that's really special.
Oh, you all have given me so much to stress about without saying anything at all. But I'm so grateful that I could talk to each of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly can't thank you enough for the work that you do behind the scenes to bring these stories to all of us. And I hope you will join us again soon.
Jedi Master Loden Greatstorm has been turned to dust, and Bel Zettifar has been left in a state of catatonic shock. But how and why? Turning to one of their own, the Jedi enlist Emmerich Kaftor to investigate. Cian Holt, an in-demand private investigator, has also been hired to take on the case by Chancellor Lina So. As a Jedi, Emmerich's calm demeanor and clear-eyed outlook make him an ideal investigator. Emmerich's trust in his own instincts often result in a direct, even-footed, and calm confrontation in the face of danger. Cian, well, she has her own way of dealing with things. seamlessly slipping between high society and the dark underworld in order to get answers by any means necessary. Together, this unlikely duo must solve one of the galaxy's biggest mysteries. Can these two opposites work together to crack the case, or will they break each other first?
As we so often do here on the High Republic Show, we ask you, our dear viewers, to ask the hard questions. The questions that only High Republic experts can answer. Experts who contractually have to answer my calls whenever I make them. A power that I would never exploit. Except for right now. Please welcome Leland Shea from the Lucasfilm Story Group.
Hey, Krystina.
Hey! So, I have a question for you that even I need clarity on. Rob asked, okay, THRS questions, I need some official Star Wars The High Republic info on something. Marchion Ro. I listened to the books and I've heard his name pronounced 2 different ways. So is it Marchion or Marchion?
Han, Han, Leia, Twi'lek. Star Wars has a reputation for having multiple pronunciations for names depending on whom you ask. Marchion Ro has always been Marchion Ro amongst the Project Luminous authors, who discussed the issue extensively before deciding on Marchion. During those conversations, the version with the hard K went out, in part because it just felt tougher and had more of an edge, much like Marchion himself. There's plenty of precedent in Star Wars for using the hard K sound for CH, whether you're referring to Christophsis, the Battle of Chiron Belt, the Chimera, or Rogue One composer Michael Giacchino. Personally, I would have gone with Marchion, which I think has an authoritative ring to it. All that said, we do leave room for characters in-universe to use varying pronunciations. There's even been some speculation that the Tempest Runners might mispronounce Marchion intentionally.
Who knew Marchion would be the AT-AT or AT-AT of the High Republic? Or is it the High Republic? The mysteries of the written word. And if you have a High Republic query you want solved, hit us up online using the hashtag THRSquestions, and I'll get all Robert Stack on that mystery next episode. And speaking of mysteries, how about we crack the case of the High Republic Show Krystina? While this month may have been short on new novel releases, we're overflowing with brand new character poster art. Kicking things off with galactic pretty boy Zylan Graff. We first met this handsome theoretical hyperspace physics expert in Out of the Shadows, and now we finally get to see what his piercing blue eyes and fancy pants threads actually look like. No wonder this man has his own tower. And well, what do we have here? Why, it's the Celestin pilot of the Switchback from Out of the Shadows, Nito Jana, saved from his indentured contract with the Bind Guild by Chancey Yarrow. This wise old Celestin doesn't know the meaning of the word hurry. I guess that's Nito, if you're into taking your time. Anyone? No? And speaking of Chancey Yarrow, feast your eyes on her character poster. Before becoming the Nile's hyperspace physicist after her ship was theoretically attacked by Nile raiders, she had a theory that gravity wells could be built and used to forcefully pull ships from hyperspace, which we all know what a great disaster messing with hyperspace can be. But hey, at least she gave birth to her daughter Silvestri. And like a well-executed segue, check out Silvestri Yarrow's security droid M227. This 200-year-old droid may be worthless to some, but it's one of the few things Sil can call her own. Plus, M227 used to belong to her mother, so it's got that going for it. Oh, and remember Silvestri's girlfriend Jordana Sparkburn? Well, check her out in her own character poster. Jordana is a Santeca deputy and even has her own hunting cat named Remy. I'd hate to see what that thing does to the furniture. Next up is Jira Staros, the Republic Senator from Corellia we first met in A Test of Courage as well as in Out of the Shadows. Who knows where she'll pop up next in the High Republic? Or with whom? What am I hinting at? Who knows? But mark my words, you'll be surprised. You can count on it. I'm getting in the weeds of the marsh here, as others would say. Better get back on to what we were talking about. Finally, we've got a new character from the High Republic Adventures annual for you to feast your eyes on. Alice Crash Angua is a 16-year-old female with pink hair that has her own droid named K8 that calls her Master Crash. Growing up in the bodyguarding business, she's taken over the Supreme Coronet City Diplomat Protection, running the ops and business side of things. After the attack on Valo, she's been tasked with keeping Chancellor So safe. Quite a lot on the plate of a 16-year-old kid, but hey, them's the breaks in the Star Wars, kiddos. And for more character posters, bios, and all the High Republic information you could possibly need, check out StarWars.com/The High Republic. Well, that's our show. Can't believe the next episode will be our first anniversary spectacular. How spectacular? Well, you're just gonna have to wait and see. In the meantime, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you. I guess now we have to make sure the next episode is really spectacular. Shoot, maybe I overpromised. Or did I? See you in January.